Yo, what it do, man? It's your boy Marcus Elbow. Welcome to elbowMedia Studios. And if this your first time, you're in the right place, man, because all we do over here is keep it crunk, man. Today we got another BeatMaker 3 tutorial, and I've been getting a lot of requests for this tutorial. A lot of people want me to talk about the mixer. Now, I'm not going to talk about mixing per se today. What I'm going to do is we're going to talk about the UI as far as navigating through the mixer. Now, I do plan on doing a mixing tutorial in the future, but I will not be doing that today. We're just going to look at how we can navigate through the mixer and what the mixer has to offer in BeatMaker 3, all right? All right, man, come on. You already know how we do it, man. No time to waste. Come on, let's just get straight to it. As you can see here, we're already in the mixer, and if this is your first time looking at BeatMaker 3, I will leave a card right here to show you how to navigate and get started in BeatMaker 3. But when you first boot up BeatMaker 3, this is what you're going to have right here. If you go down a couple of icons, more like 3 or 4, you will find the mixer. And as we look at the mixer, and if you've ever did any studio work, you would find this layout to be similar to most layouts when it comes to a DAW and a mixer. You have all of your tracks here. So as you can see right here, I have my main, which is that already comes automatic. Then I also have 6 tracks, and then I have my aux tracks right here. There's a few things you can do with the mixer once you come in. Let's just take a look at a few things that we could do. Of course, you can take care of your sound, if you want to, raise your levels up and down. And as you can see, I have the levels down so that we can start kind of mixing this track once we get started. But let's just talk about a few things that we have inside a mixer. If you look down here, right underneath your bars, you would have your pan controls, where you can pan left to right, and then underneath that you have your send 1 and your send 2, and then right now I'm just looking at this one channel strip. Then you have your mute right here, and then you also have your solo option here. Okay, and if we go one level down below that, you could add another track here. Okay, you could also show the pads. So this is great for if you have a pad and you have a lot of things going on in one pad bank. You could actually mix those as well, which is pretty cool. You have your post fade and you have your pre fader. All right, this is for your sends, and then you also have all your sends where you can click this and you can see exactly what you have going on and how you have all your sends set up. Then you also have your connections for your ins and outs, and as you see, whenever I hit that, this will show where your outputs are and where your inputs are if you're doing a microphone or you're doing anything like that. Okay, and we can let that go. Then you have a menu little button over here to your far bottom right. If we click on that, this will show the classic colors. Okay, then you also have your peak options. You can do a RMS or you can do peaks, and then you can change the size of your mixer, because sometimes if you have a lot of tracks, sometimes you need to make that a little bit smaller, or you can put it in normal, or you can put it in large. Okay, that's pretty much it as far as how the mixer looks and what you can control right here in the beginning soon as you come into the mixer. Let's go ahead and start the music so we can start looking at some of my levels and start bringing them up, and then we can start talking about effects. All right, so you're probably saying, hold on, Mark, my colors don't look like that. Remember, if you go down here to your menu and I have use classic colors on. If I go ahead and turn it off, then this will look more familiar to you. because these colors are a representation of what your pad colors are, so that you could, you know, easily pick out those tracks. Right? Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at, you know, because again, we already know that we can go in and we can change our levels and we can try to mix our track. That's definitely what we want to do. But then you also need to be able to add effects to the track so that you could tweak some things and do some different things. So if you look over here to your left, you have your keyboard, you have your MIDI effects, and then you have your audio effects. Let's go ahead and click on the audio effects, and then you're going to get this slide window right here. And then we're going to go ahead and take that Dixie and we're going to solo that just so that we can concentrate on that. Okay. And we'll go back into our sequencer, and then we'll go ahead and just make sure that we're just dealing with that sound right now. Okay, let's go back to our mixer. Okay, so the art of mixing, as all of us know, and for you, you novice guys that don't know, your effects is everything. Putting effects on different tracks, making sure that your track fits with other tracks, and you work with your frequencies is how you get your track to sound great. And then once you go into mastering, you just finish that off and then you're good to go. Let's look at how to add effects to a track real quick. And again, we're not going to mix this track. We're just going to look at some different options we have as far as what BeatMaker has inside of its repertoire, as far as just out the box come with the unit. Okay. All right. We click on that effects. As we can see here, we have a 6-band EQ, auto pan, bit crusher, delays, processors, reverbs, overdrive. I mean, BeatMaker comes with a lot of options in the beginning. And like I've been telling y'all, since I've been working with BeatMaker 3, this software is a monstrosity. You have to dig deep into the software and see what you have. Let's go ahead and look at maybe bringing some reverb on that. So I'm gonna click right here on reverb. And as you can see, the reverb has popped right over there. Okay. And if you listen, you could hear where that reverb is in there. Right? And let's go ahead and make some adjustments so you can hear it a little bit better. You hear that? Let's bring it back down a little bit. Let's bring in the cymbals. I think that's going to be track 3. All right, in order for us to work with the effects for that channel, you need to highlight the channel here, okay? And as you can see, I kind of did some effects ahead of time. It's already on. Let me turn it off. Now, you hear that? Sounds muffled. Doesn't sound, you know, bright. Let's bring it back. And just by using this 6-band EQ, I was able to bring the highs up, drop the low a little bit, and enhance that sound. Okay. Now you're thinking, Mark, you know, that's pretty good, man. You know, I like the way that sounds. You know, we could even add some saturation. We could do some different things. But let's go ahead and bring the kick in. What we're gonna do is we're gonna highlight that. And as you can see, I got a few things over here as well. Let's go ahead and turn them off. Now what I did was I added some saturation and I added a compressor in that, right? Let's go ahead and hear it when we turn it back on. It's knocking a little bit better. I can bring that up a little bit. Now what you don't want, and again, you know, this is not a tutorial about mixing, but you do not want anything in the red. You see how that just went in the red? That you do not want that. Because whenever you're in the red, now you're above the ceiling, now you're starting to get some distortion. When you get ready to go into mastering, you will notice that. So you want to bring that down out of the red. There are some exceptions, but we're not going to talk about that. All right, let's go ahead and bring that saturation back. Oh man, that sounds great. Let's get that compressor on there. All right, let's bring something else in. We can add a little bit of effect to that. See, we just added just a little something. You can already see that it brightened it up. Just from those little small adjustments, you can see that adding effects to your tracks to enhance the sound, to tweak the sound, is your best friend. This is what you have to do. You know, as young producers out there, and even some of the older producers, you have to understand that, you know, doing the track is fine. You know, getting your track done and doing all that is great. But until you get to the mix and you mix that track is not ready yet. And any person with a good enough ear would know, hey man, that track ain't ready. It sounds good, but man, that track could sound better. You know what I'm saying? And as you can see, I mean, we're already sounding better. Quick, let's go ahead and highlight our auxiliary track. We're gonna go back into our effects, and then we're going to add a reverb, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to make that 100% wet. And then we're going to add the mix. We're going to make that dry. Okay, so if you were wondering how do you use your sends, this is the way you do it. Sends and audio tracks are great for whenever you want to add effects over a broad amount of tracks. So let's just say you have a couple of tracks like the Dixie. Let's take a look at the Dixie and this other sound inside of the Dixie. We're going to go ahead and play that. Right, and just so we make sure we don't have anything on here, let's disengage those effects, right? And now since we already have an auxiliary track with our effect on it, we can essentially send the Dixie over to the auxiliary and pull in that effect. Watch. And as you can see now, you can adjust how much effects or how much that effect affects that sound by you can adjust the volume here. Right? And I had to solo that in order for you to be able to hear that. But that's the way that you can use some of your sends. Instead of having individual effects on one track, you can actually do it over a broad amount of tracks. So a few different tracks. So that's pretty cool. Right? So as you can see, man, I mean, BeatMaker 3 mixers is just as good as any mixer out there, if you ask me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I will show you some things in Cubasis too where it kind of, you know, extends a little bit on what we have to offer here in BeatMaker 3, but for the most part, man, BeatMaker 3 is an awesome piece of software, and the mixer is almost pretty much the last section that I haven't touched, and I will do a tutorial on how to mix in the future, but I just want to show you how to navigate through the mixer real quick. All right, man, listen, my name is Mark Lamont, aka Marcus Elbow. This has been elbowMedia Studios. I will get with you guys later, man, in another video. All right, man, peace.